Hey guys, so I know I just uploaded, but I don't know, we're gonna go with it. I have been all over the place with motivation, so I'm taking it where I can get it, and I've wanted to talk about this for a really long time, actually. I want to clarify going forward that while I understand how this video may be off putting or even hurtful to some of my progressive Christian viewers, I think it's something important to talk about. I don't intend to say here that all Christians are bad people or that you somehow subconsciously agree with or are okay with the bigotry and harm perpetuated by many brands of American Christianity. My goal is to talk about how Christianity functions in tandem with American politics, and how the Christians who go, but I'm totally okay with gay people, both can be vital in helping social progress, but also how the connection to religion is still one that can unintentionally validate or enable harmful beliefs as well. With that out of the way, let's just get into the video. I think when most irreligious leftist Americans think of American specific Christianity, we usually think of something like this. Obviously, most people have a more nuanced view when it actually comes to thinking about what it means to be a Christian in America, but I know many people, including myself, have that imagery and behavior as the first thing that springs to mind when you mention American Christianity. While there are a vast amount of LGBT affirming, pro choice, and just overall socially aware and kind Christians, the current position we're in as a country is one where conservative evangelicalism is third in line if Trump got shot a few inches further to the right, where red states are governed by people who don't believe in evolution and strip queer people of rights, and where a dead woman is used as an incubator for a 9-week-long fetus. Regardless of how many of these good Christians there are, they do not hold current power in America. While I do use the word good Christian in a bit of a snarky way, before I go into the criticism, I do want to acknowledge that having one fewer division between the far right and themselves is a useful trait. While I can't in good faith find any common ground with conservatives, someone who has the same foundation for their opinions but came to a much more kind and inclusive conclusion through it does at least share that starting point with them. Sometimes that can and is used for good means. Being better able to relate to someone does make it easier to change their mind, and while I find it frustrating that people don't tend to be as compelled by evidence-based arguments as they do emotional arguments and anecdotes, it has been repeatedly shown that personal stories, especially when personally relatable, are way more likely to change minds. It's the reason I even include anecdotes in my content at all, despite repeatedly saying I find it useless in terms of actually determining if something is true or not. It's compelling and persuasive. When my life experience, my beliefs, and my values are so polar opposite to that of a conservative evangelical, and when evangelical Christianity in particular primes people to fear differences and questioning, I am unable to have the amount of sway as a progressive Christian might by sharing their own personal religious testimony. All that is to say, to the progressive Christians in my audience, you can do good things, and a lot of you are doing good things. You have something that many people like myself do not. You have relatability and commonality, and you understand these people in a way that I cannot as someone who's never been religious, even if you vehemently disagree with them. This is especially true if you are not LGBT yourself, but care about how those who share your religious text are treating us. All that being said, it would be unlike me to not have some criticism for the religious in my audience. This isn't exactly a criticism I expect to change anyone's beliefs, like their religion. It's not debunking the Bible or anything. But I also think it's worth considering in the way that progressive Christians approach this topic. While everything I just stated is absolutely true when acted upon correctly, it's not true of all progressive Christians. I've been perpetually surprised by the amount of religious people who watch my channel, and I've seen people both in and off of it who care about the rights of others and do exactly what I just described, but also people who find it a priority to defend either their religion itself or to distance themselves as an individual from conservative Christians in a way that is predominantly self-serving. The positives I pointed out require someone to place the human rights and respect of others above their own personal perception and above defending their faith, and not everyone is willing to do that. I think I can best sum up the difference by these two different types of comments I get from progressive Christians. I'm sorry my religion has been used to hurt you. A lot of us are just as horrified as you are. We care, and we're on your side. And, but I'm a Christian, and I'm not homophobic. People who are hateful aren't even real Christians, because Jesus was kind to everyone. While obviously both of these statements hold the same core idea of not all Christians are homophobic and we should be kind, the former is focused on the harm caused by the church and the religion, and it's an affirmation to others that some Christians are safe people. The latter is self-focused. It's a defense of seeing the word homophobic as an insult to their personal character, rather than a tangible form of discrimination, and defending their religious text. And also just that way that the no true Scotsman fallacy is used, i.e. homophobic Christians aren't Christians, is just extremely common and it's very irritating. I don't mean to say that there's some deep internal thought process about how much one type of person cares about the other, where the other person doesn't care about other people and just how others see them and their religion. I think both of these sentiments tend to be somewhat of a knee jerk reaction to seeing something very valuable to them being used to cause harm. And some people tend to feel the need for change or even guilt, whereas others feel defensive. It's something all people, including myself, do. When someone in your in group does something shitty, there's usually some sort of emotional response. It just varies from person to person what that may be. My reason for highlighting the difference between change-based progressive Christianity and defensive or self-focused progressive Christianity, though, is that the change and community focus approach is one that manifests change. It's something that gives Christians coming to terms with being LGBT a safe environment that they're also familiar with. It allows and encourages them to use that commonality with conservatives to change harmful views. It's not just about the religion, essentially. It's focused on creating safety and community first. The latter is focused on defending the religion at its core. That's Not Real Christianity is not only a no true Scotsman, but it also neglects the tangible impact that supposedly false Christianity has regardless. In an attempt to distance the religion as a whole from bigotry, it places no actual burden on those doing the harm. Its sole purpose is to distance yourself from people who make you and your religion look bad. Saying, they're not real Christians because I'm not like them, does not change their behavior. Whether you personally believe that they are real or good Christians, they are still following the same holy text, believe in the same God, use the same name, pray at the same churches, all while committing acts ranging from physical violence, political and legal oppression, and daily harm and vitriol to people in their own lives. It changes nothing for you to take away their real Christian badge beyond making yourself look better. Ironically, in this attempt to delegitimize them as Christians, it also tends to cause more harm. When you, of your own accord, set up an us versus them boundary where there isn't one, by saying you're a Christian and they're not, you lose the useful qualities that I discussed earlier. You can no longer come together and go, hey, we're both Christians, right? Here's how these beliefs have helped me in my faith and how I think they might help you or others. The benefit of having relatability, of having personally relatable anecdotes, and of quelling the evangelical fear of the other is gone because you have self-assigned yourself the role of another. And while this may be useful to you, may make certain people see you as a better person than they would have otherwise, all you've done is give them a separate space to continue their actions while believing stripping them the title of real Christian is actually going to result in a change in behavior. Which it doesn't. Ultimately, while anyone who's familiar with my content already knows I'm not a fan of Christianity or religion in general, regardless of its political leanings, but that being said, it's also unreasonable for me to expect people to just abandon their religion because sometimes it does shitty stuff. The same sentiment applies to myself here as what I discussed in my previous video. Beggars can't be choosers, and we need all of the allyship we can get. While I don't have any particular distaste for Christians who focus on defense of their religion over change, at least not any more than my default, I do think that indifference is not the same as being an ally. While I do think it makes sense, even if it sucks, to jump to the defense of your religion as a first priority, considering that it's your religion, at the end of the day, these people are Christians. Many of them do believe in a very twisted way that their actions are loving. They are the people that the phrase "there's no hate like Christian love" describes. A lot of them do think that their actions are loving. They are just very, very warped. When you view homophobic or transphobic or what have you as an insult rather than a descriptor of abuse suffered by a marginalized group, you are not an ally. When you defend your faith instead of offering support, even if it's from within that faith, to people your religion has harmed, you are not an ally. This is not to say you're as bad as the people drooling over Elon Musk and making deportation ASMR, but that indifference to the actual suffering your community has created is not allyship. Not actively partaking in it doesn't mean that you're making an effort to combat it. A person who sits by and shakes their head in disappointment when watching a tragedy occur is not the same as the person who caused it to happen, but they're also not helping. You are simply a bystander. If you self-describe as a progressive Christian, you cannot prioritize the image of your religion over the harm it's causing. For violence to be stopped, we need to acknowledge that it's happening at all. Christianity does perpetuate discrimination. That does not mean that all Christians support it. It does not mean that all Christians are participating. But if you divorce the actions themselves from what motivated them to happen, you are at best indifferent and at worst a part of the problem. That's all I got for today, guys. If you like my content and want to support me, please subscribe and like if you wanna, or you can dislike if you think I'm gonna burn in hell. If you want to support me in continuing this channel financially, you can check out my Ko-fi and commission information in the description. Thanks for watching. Ha de.
The children think too much, they've hardly a fear of God, always asking questions they should only wish away.